Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Kenny Conversation, brought to you by JEGS, the leader in high performance aftermarket car parts. Remember to go to jegs.com for everything you need to fix your vehicle up. I get asked all the time, my kid is 8 years old. He's won 10 championships. How do we get a sponsorship? I am so excited to introduce a dear friend of mine, Doug Bland, who has just come out with your answer, a racersguide.com sponsorship in the digital age. Doug Bland, welcome to Kenny Conversation.
Thanks for having me, Kenny. How's everything going?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and everything's going so good for me. I tell everybody, Doug, I'm living my best life, but I like what you have in the background there. Where are you talking to us from?
I'm in San Antonio, Texas. That's after COVID hit, I moved down here. Obviously all the sporting events were shut down when COVID hit, and my arena football league team up in Illinois, I had to shut it down for a year and a half. So I came down to San Antonio to work on a couple projects and kind of fell in love with it and didn't go back, and hired some more people up there to run the football team. And so I'm a permanent resident of San Antonio now.
San Antonio, boy, that's a legendary city. So you just mentioned it. You are in arena football, and we're going to have Charlie Marlowe. This is something new that we've been doing lately. It's kind of like, I snap my fingers, and Charlie and myself, we're going to introduce you. And there's no better way to introduce you than this way. You worked for the great Roger Penske at the California Speedway. And Charlie, let's drop that picture in right now. Here is Doug, and in Victory Lane, somewhere around the California Speedway. I don't think there's any better way to introduce you, Doug. When Roger Penske hires you, you were hired for marketing at California Speedway. Just tell me a little bit about your experience in marketing.
Yeah, it was a great experience for me. At the time when I met Roger, I was actually working for a music festival company in Southern California, selling sponsorships for the music festivals. We did a few sporting events and stuff too, like rodeos and things like that, but mainly music festivals. But growing up around racing my whole life, I always wanted to find out how I could get into it. And they just had announced that Roger was going to build the California Speedway out in Fontana. And that was in 1994. And I went to the inaugural Brickyard 400. And a friend of mine that worked for Yates had got me a garage pass. And ironically, I run right into Roger Penske, actually leaving the restroom in Gasoline Alley right there. And it was my shot. So I just introduced myself to him, told him that I sold sponsorships in Southern California. I just heard that they, are going to be building the Speedway out in Fontana, and I would love to be a part of it, and that I've been around racing my whole life. And so he pulled out his business card. He wrote on the back of it, Les Richter was on the name on the back of it. And he says, when you get back to California next weekend, or next week, you call this man, you tell him I talked to you, and that, to listen to what you had to say, basically. So about a year and a half later, I got a phone call from Greg Penske, basically offered me to come in for an interview, and then offered me the job. So it was a great experience, and learning from Roger and Greg and Les Richter and, all the great people. Even with NASCAR, obviously was involved heavily with that time, in IndyCar. And it was a lot of great things that I got to learn. And probably the most important thing was the professionalism of the Penske organization and how to present yourself, and basically, always coming from a power of strength position, and being creative, because you're only limited to your creativity when it comes to this marketing and sponsorship programs.
All right. So we've laid the platform out. We've let everybody know that you're somebody. You just didn't show up. You paid your dues. You worked for the great Roger Penske, arena football. And I know that you have a much broader background, and that's why you're on Kenny Conversation. Well, let's get right to it. I know a thing or two about finding sponsorship, but I like where you're coming from, because we are in a new world. Racersguide.com, that's where everybody goes. But what I really like is how you said sponsorship in the digital age. We are in a new world. And my kid, now this is, we're having fun right now. This is what I hear all the time, Doug. Hey, Kenny Wallace, I see you get those sponsorships. My kid is going to be the next Kyle Larson. Then I say, well, does he talk? Do you sell product? Do you network? So I'm going to say one more thing, and I'm going to kind of let you have the ball a little bit. You met Roger Penske. You put yourself out there. You stopped and talked to him. So to me, that's already the very first thing you do. So everything I just said, talk to me about this new digital era, talk to me about networking and how to start out.
Yeah, so the game has changed, Kenny. I mean, obviously, you and I shared a sponsor at one point when I used to own the Extreme Dirt Car Series and Stacker 2. With you had the same sponsor, and that was a networking deal where I met Bob Acofento on an airplane one day. So it's the networking element is never going to change the game of what we do as far as trying to find marketing partnerships. But what has changed is what these sponsors are looking for. Back in the day, just having your logo on a car and trying to show them the Joyce Julius report of, look how much time my logo was on TV and all that kind of stuff. Those days are gone. I mean, we have a new, I mean, there's some value still to that, but it's all about the eyeballs, and it's all about social media. It's all about the number of clicks. It's about the number of views. It's about how people can engage with the product, how they can interact with their customers. I mean, everything has changed because of social media. It's changed because of digital platforms. These sponsors are looking for more. They're always looking for more, but they can. One thing you couldn't do back in the day is you couldn't justify or come back and say, look how much value you got for this, because it was so vague, right? In today's world, you can say, hey, this video that we did of my race or my interview after my race, this received X amount of views, 2 million views. That's something you can quantify directly to a sponsor and show them exactly what took place. And that's what they're all wanting to do. They want to see analytics. They want to see, give me proof of what took place, and with social media and, my links in my bio or click for more information on the bottom of my video that would take them to a page where they can purchase the product you're talking about. It's all about the number of eyeballs that you can generate. And it doesn't matter if you're a go-kart racer, a dirt track racer, a late model dirt or late model asphalt guy, a road racer. Everyone has to utilize this digital age to get to the next step. And you can build that up and not be a superstar. Because, I mean, look at some of these people that are just killing it in this Mr. Beast and these kind of people. They started out as just nerdy kids in their mom's basement, right? And now they have millions of viewers. We have a bigger start when you're an athlete because you already have a platform. You're already somebody that people want to talk to because you do something that they don't do, and that's drive a race car or or you're a professional athlete or a college athlete or whatever the situation is. But pertaining to us, it's obviously driving race cars. And everybody wants to know about what it's like to do it. And today's fan, they're all about the kind of peel back the curtain and see the behind the scenes look of what's happening in the sport, right? You do a very good job of that, talking about live from the garage area. This is the breaking news. But when you are an athlete or a driver, that's what you have to do in today's world, Kenny. You have to build your platform and build your program in a digital world, because that's where you're going to get that money. You'll never have to worry about sponsorships and ever if you have 1 million followers on YouTube, because every new content you come out with, that people are willing to pay money, and that'll fund your racing program to do basically whatever you want to do and to build your way all the way up to the Cup Series if that's what it takes.
That's really good stuff, and I want to comment on it. Then I want you to respond. First thing I'm going to do is show and tell. And this is what we do when we go into the office, marketing office, and, show whoever's involved, vice president of marketing, if for some reason the CEO is there, which doesn't happen very much. But 2 weeks ago, the NASCAR world was kind of rocked a little bit. Adam Stern came out and said, #1 social media person in all of NASCAR, Tony Breidinger. Everybody's like, what? So now this is where show and tell comes. Okay. You see that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. That girl runs ARCA, 2.1 million followers. I don't care how she did it. And I'm commenting on what you're saying. I like your product, erasersguide.com. And here's why. Years ago, there was a picture and it showed all these men and ladies on this train, and they all had this newspaper. And you probably seen me, and everybody was like this. Everybody was like this. Okay. Same story. Now we're like this. So people have had a problem feeling guilty. Oh, I shouldn't be on social media. You know what I tell them? Get over your guilt. This is now the new newspaper. I just did a little play right there. And that's why I really like your digital age. And I just showed you about Tony. We're going to have her on Kenny Conversation. So you got the kid that's winning everything. He won't talk. Daddy says, you got to talk or else you better be Kyle Larson. What's the first thing that your racersguide.com, what does it got in it that can guide these racers, even the ones that are 30 years old?
It's exactly what it says. It's a guide. So it takes you step by step on essentially what these sponsors are looking for, Kenny, what to do first. Set up this account, use how to use artificial intelligence, which is a big AI is a huge thing right now. And it actually helps you build sponsorship proposals. It shows you demographics that specific sponsors might be looking for, how to build your platforms on all your different social medias. It basically tells you from A to Z how to utilize the digital age and use the leverage of what we've got in front of us. I mean, it's more exciting now than it ever has been because, I think if you look at my book, when you see it, my first sponsorship proposal, Kenny, when I was 13 years old, I was a BMX racer. And, being around racing, I knew that they sponsored Darrell Waltrip, Gatorade did, right? So I'm in my living room on a typewriter, typing out a letter to Gatorade about, because I just had won a national event. So I was thinking, hey, if I had Gatorade on my jersey, that you guys could sponsor me. I looked up their address, sent it to them, and about, I don't know, probably 2 months later, I get this letter back from the CMO saying, thank you for your interest. We understand about Darrell Waltrip and blah, blah, blah. But essentially never came to anything. But that was my first experience of throwing myself out there. I mean, you have to do this. I mean, this is what you have to do. And this book basically tells you step by step what to do first, what to do second, what to do third, and how to leverage all these amazing tools that we have at our fingertips. I mean, like I said earlier, is people want to see the behind the scenes of what's going on. That this Netflix thing that just happened with NASCAR, it basically does it. It shows it makes these guys that we see as superstar, NASCAR athletes, and it makes them like just a normal guy because they see them sitting on their couch at home with their girlfriend or their wife, and but it also sees them going to the track and flying and all the kind of stuff. But a local dirt racer, when you're working on that car until midnight on a Thursday night to get it ready for Friday night's race, and you got to go to your 9 to 5 the next day, and leave early so you can get to the hauler and go back to the track and drive 3 hours to the race. I mean, that's interesting stuff that people want to see, and believe it or not, you can build a following over this stuff. I mean, this Haley Deegan girl, I mean, she had a famous dad to start with, right? But she started as a little, like 7-8-year-old girl racing these little dirt go-karts and, kept building up her following. And the reason she has a ride right now, I mean, yes, she's won races and she's probably a pretty talented, driver, but it's because those sponsors want to see those clicks. And that's the bottom line. Why she has the money to race is because she done a great job building up her social media and building up her platform, because she has something of value that those sponsors want to see.
We're going to go somewhere. I don't want to give everything away, but you have the racersguide.com. I keep repeating it, but we know something that is so fresh, so new. I have my pulse on everything just like you do. NASCAR, Roger Penske, everybody's using it in the underworld right now. And I'm sure you're going to touch on it. $65 a year. So we just there it is, the legendary logo. We're going to use Chat Smith. That's what all the big boys are using now. Automatic. AI um, writes your press releases. It does everything better than a human can do. Until this is illegal, now I know all about this because I'm very up to date, because that's what I do. But we do know that Roger Penske, the Penske Corporation, Hendrick, all the big boys are using Chat Smith. That's an upgrade. Without me going any deeper, just touch on that. And I know the racersguide.com is going to have it, but talk a little bit about AI and this Chat Smith is so big in the business world now.
Yeah, there's probably 5 or 6 different, artificial intelligence platforms that you can use. There's some of them that are obviously free, Chat GPT, Perplexity. I mean, I have a list in the book of all the different ones that you can use. But they're all pretty much, I don't want to say they're all the same, but you have to know how to use it for it to be beneficial to you. You have to know how to prompt it and what to say to it to get the results back that are going to be effective for you. Say you want to come up with script ideas for your YouTube channel that for your race team, right? You got to basically tell a story to the computer of who you are, what you do, and then it builds this little guide that tells you who you are. So you can say, hey, I'm Kenny Wallace, former NASCAR driver. Now I'm a dirt modified driver. We're going to run the UMP Summer Nationals, and I want to come up with 5 script ideas for videos leading up to the first race of the Summer Nationals. Ask me any question you may need to better write these scripts. So you type that in and it'll spit back out, Kenny, we need to know about this. What are the dates of these races? It'll come back and you write back, okay, the first race is at, LaSalle Speedway, and you can write all this stuff back. And then it says, okay, I might need one more question to ask you. It'll ask you one more question, you answer it. And then next thing you know, there's 10 pages of things it'll tell you of ideas for script ideas. And then if you want to go a step further, please write me a script of shots, camera shots that I will need for this video, and a script to go off of for this video number 1. And it'll print out video number 1, everything you would need to do Kenny Wallace driving the first Summer Nationals 5 races or whatever it might be. So if you don't know how to speak to it, you're not going to get the great results. And we talk about that in the book, about how to properly set up the questions that are needed to get the results back that they're going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah, really, really good stuff, Doug. Okay, so how do we go about purchasing erasersguide.com? It's like, here we are, I'm 60 years old, I don't know what I'm doing. Tell me how I go about finding this.
So you just go to the website, erasersguide.com. We actually have a special right now. We're giving both the audio book and the ebook, I think, for $69. So for the price of a couple pit passes, Kenny, you can go to school and get an education on your livelihood if you want to be a race car driver. And at the end of the day, I've driven race cars and I've always paid out of my pocket if I didn't have a sponsor, but I usually always had a sponsor, right? Because that's just what we do. But at the end of the day, if you don't find something, it's coming out of your pocket. And another thing that I have in the book, Kenny, that's a really cool thing, it's called affiliate marketing. And there's a lot of people that know about affiliate marketing, but leveraging affiliate marketing with your sponsor program is a whole nother platform that people have never even thought of before. Because with all the tools that we have with Twitter or X and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, we can link these posts that we do revolving around our racing program. And if you don't have somebody paying you money for a sponsorship that's saying, here's 20 grand for you to race this year, or, to be on your quarter panel, then what you need to do is you find the right affiliate, because there's plenty of affiliate platforms on there. It's highlighted in the book of different ones, from Commission Junction to ClickBank. There's a ton of them. You find one that fits your program the best and that pays a really good commission, then you put that on your car and you do that on all your posts, and you get a percentage of every sale of that product that comes through your platform, because there's an ID code basically that's linked to you personally. Okay, so say you do a big video on the tire controversy, that they're talking about now, the tire soaking in the dirt late models, which obviously, I've been involved with that a long time. But you do a video on that, and you have maybe it's a sniffer product or some kind of product that's
I get it.
That's affiliated with this story that you're doing, right? And you put that link. Hey, the link's in the bio if you want to get one of these products. Say you get 1 million views on this thing, and 1% of those people buy that product, and the product's $200. That could generate enough revenue right there to be a sponsorship for the whole entire season.
Wow, you bring up such good information. Well, look, let's end it like this, Doug. I have a lot of kids that are very, very boring. They cannot speak. They cannot talk. What do you say to the family that the kid cannot put 2 words together, but I got to represent a company? What do we tell the parents? Where do we send the kids to learn how to speak? What do we do with the kids that got to overcome being shy? They're wonderful children, but they can't talk because they're scared to death. What do we do?
I think that you just got to go do it. I mean, I'm sure there's, Dale Carnegie courses and that kind of stuff that you can learn to speak and, that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just putting yourself out there and doing it. You got to, get motivated, because if you're really serious about racing and you know how much it costs to do it in today's world, then you don't have a future in this sport unless you got money to do it. Because it's not like we're playing basketball or football where all you need is a ball behind me here to go practice your skill. You could do it on iRacing, I guess, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to get behind the wheel of a car and show what you can do. And that takes money to do it. I mean, you got to have the tools, the tow truck, the trailer, the car. I mean, it's a huge proposition to get into this stuff.
Thank you so much, Mr. Doug Bland. Okay, everybody, listen, go to erasersguide.com, erasersguide.com. This is the start of the digital age. It's been around. We are behind. We got to catch up. We've talked about NASCAR, Penske, Rick Hendrick. Everybody's using the new way of finding sponsorship. Doug, we want to tell everybody that we are in podcast form, so you can listen to this one on the way to work. And if it's just a little too long, you can listen to this on the way back. We are on iTunes and Spotify. Doug, thank you so much for being on Kenny Conversation.
I appreciate it, Herm. I look forward to seeing you this summer somewhere.
All right, everybody. We got them lined up. Danica Patrick just called. She's coming soon. Until then, we have Erica Enders. We have a lot of people in the pipeline. Until the next Kenny Conversation, we'll see you next time.